Namaste. I'm Pravina Tota. I'm founder of Women Envision for Entrepreneurship. Isn't it wow when a final year student of Ayurvedic medicine comes to you and asks, Madam, I really want to enlighten this generation and the women who's been facing a hell lot of problems just because of their unhealthy lifestyle. I was so amazed. Yes, Nagasri has come forward and to take up a topic on why his lifestyle is the best medicine. Yeah, to brief a little about it. Being healthy should be a part of your overall lifestyle, and living a healthy lifestyle can help prevent chronic diseases and long term illnesses. And feeling good about yourself and taking care of your health are important for your self esteem and self image. Hence, let's learn the deeper aspects of why having good lifestyle is very essential with Ayurvedic aspects. So I'm really amazed when she says, at her age, and she's taking wellness programs, yoga classes, and pranayama, and and the best part is she's been COVID warrior and attending calls of home isolated COVID patients from government of Karnataka. And we're so amazed to have young generation having that inculcation coming forward to enlighten other of her age group, others of her age group, and the women. So stay blessed, Nagasri, and over to you.
Hello, ma'am. Uh, Myself, Nagashri Tenedi. I'm doing my final year BMS from Shri Shri College of Ayurvedic Science and Research, Bangalore. And I have also worked as a COVID warrior in the meantime of crisis for home isolated patients for government of Karnataka. And I also conduct sessions for yoga and pranayama. I do lifestyle correction. And since I am also into fraternity of medicine and Ayurveda, I wanted to do my bit. So that is the reason for coming into Ayurveda, because it always aimed at wellness, on how to prevent a disease instead of telling what to give when you have a disease. So, and that is what everyone needs in this hour or in this era. So that is the reason of me choosing on Ayurveda and why I am doing such kind of sessions.
That's
That's
really
really
nice,
nice,
Nagasri.
Manasvi.
So, will you
Will you
take us
take us
through,
through,
what
what
exactly is the
exactly is the
lifestyle? And
lifestyle?
we have
And we
been
have been
talking about
talking
the
about the
buzzword.
buzzword. Yes. So before talking about lifestyle, we should first things first, because we should also know what actually health means in the first order. Now, health is not just absence of a disease, but it basically refers a state of physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely absence of a disease. This is what a health actually means. So it is not just looking fit or eating right. It is everything together counts as one, which is called health. Now, when we talk in terms of Ayurveda or in life or in terms of lifestyle disorders are ailments which are diseases which are uh, caused due to faulty lifestyle habits. Like it can be overeating or not eating adequately, or it can be poor quality of sleep and alcoholism or smoking or anything like that, which hinders the health. So what all these do is they detract the person from being physically active or from their daily activities. And what they do is they make them sedentary eventually. So once you are sedentary and your physical activity is low, and on top of it, when you do such kind of things, it starts taking a toll on the health. So that's when the whole immune system is down and diseases start to kick in. So this is what actually, in a nutshell and in simple terms, lifestyle disorders actually mean. So
Yeah, what sort of elements fall under this? What sort of ailments fall under this?
yes, see now lifestyle disorders predominantly have cardiovascular systems related diseases like strokes or now which is on a very big hit list, 1, 2, and 3, it is diabetes, type 2 diabetes, and PCOS. And other disorders like hypertension also fall under these lifestyle disorders, which need not need in the initial stages, they don't require any medication, but on a very simple terms, if you just correct their lifestyle, there will be, it'll a person can come back to normal. But once you treat it beyond the when it goes out of control, that's when things start getting harder for us to tackle with.
So, what do you say? How do you see? What age groups might fall under this? Predominantly.
So a healthy life or a lifestyle is for everyone. So everyone is in a risk. So, and predominantly, if we see in the current era, from teenagers to people who fall under 40s are at a larger risk, because nowadays we have too much of digitalization. So everyone's with smartphones. So that is the biggest advantage I feel. And that, like I said before also, being way too sedentary is also bad. And so coming back to your question, everyone is at a risk, and especially it a little more affects females also. So everyone, and females a little more.
So, what kind of solutions do you think, as you mentioned about Ayurveda, you come from Ayurvedic background, right? What kind of solutions can, make us better?
Yes. So Ayurveda has a lot to talk about lifestyle disorders, because it is I would say Ayurveda is a wellness industry, because now if you break the term Ayurveda, it says Ayur and Veda. Ayu means life, Veda means science. So it's a science of life. So it tells you how to live. It never tells you what to do. It also tells the management of disease, but the biggest aim is how to live in order to keep diseases at bay. Now, there's this very good quotation from Ayurveda which says, Swastasya swastha rakshanam, aturasya vikara prashamanam. Means if you should also take care of the healthy and also treat the sick. So there are two things going at once. Now, the main goal of Ayurveda is, one, to remove diseases right from its roots. So it never aims at any symptomatical relief. It always think if you have a headache, it goes back to the reason on why you are getting a headache, and then it cuts the roots, and then somehow you get rid of the headache. And the second is prevention of a disease. So it will Ayurveda has always given beautiful concepts on how to live. So when we talk in terms of them, there is something called dinacharya. It basically tells about how your morning routine or a day routine has to be. So it suggests nowadays it is literally, it is better if we don't speak about it, but no one wakes up early. It can be because of night shifts or, like we said, changes in life. So it always tells Brahmi Muhurta Uttishta. Always get up or wake up in Brahmi Muhurta, and that particular time is a very neurohormonal trigger. So when you wake up in that time, it keeps you energized throughout the day. That is the concept behind waking up. It is not that you have to wake up, sit early, and do something. So everything has got a science in Ayurveda, and everything has got a purpose. Not just this, not just waking up early. It has also given other steps like undergoing body massage every day, because it increases tone of your muscle, and how to brush is also mentioned in Ayurveda. And yes, and it also tells about this very medicated way of taking a nasal puff or dhumapana. It is called fumigation. So there is a way to prepare the cigar. It is a medicated cigar. Let me be very clear. It is a medicated version of a cigar, which a person has to breathe in and leave through the nostrils in order to have a clear nasal passage, because some people wake up with a stuffy nose in the morning. So in order to get rid of that, this potent fumes which get into the nasal passage, clear them, and you are revealed from that stuffy nose. And not just this, it is also tells about the way of bathing and other set of regimens. It all, and there are something called Ratri Charya. Charya generally means a regimen. So what has to be done at night is also explained in Ayurveda. Now, not just this, there is something called seasonal change. So every time there is a change, your body undergoes a change, and there are all chances for it to be confused. So this is when Ayurveda comes in role, and all the actors or all especially I personally have seen foreigners coming for these Rutu Shodhana. It's called as Rutu Shodhana. It's a seasonal detox. So every time there's a change in season, you undergo a detox so that you're ready for the next season and your body is under rejuvenation. So all the actors, that is the biggest secret, because not the current generation actors. If you see these actors who are around 60s and 50s, they still look young. So this is the biggest secret which has to be revealed. They take detox. What happens is it eventually kicks out the toxins, and your cells are under constant refreshment. So that way there is good shine on your skin. You're very lustrous. You look healthy, because all that what was inside you is gone. So if you ask me, like I said, now lifestyle from eye of Ayurveda, it also explains about, like I said, a daily regimen or a morning regimen, a night regimen, a seasonal regimen, what has to be done in particular season, and what kind of food we take. Now the topic called food is way too vast that it might take another session to be explained, but according to Ayurveda, it tells what a particular person should eat, because what suits me might not suit you, and it can be other way around too. And you should eat according to your body nature, is what Ayurveda says. Because some people have a weakened digestion, but in that case, you need to eat something which is lighter and which suits your gut, and not eat when you have an upset stomach. Ayurveda never says eat a pizza. That way, you're even more straining the body. So it also tells what to eat, why to eat. Now, there is a very, very, very interesting concept in Ayurveda called Trivida Kukshinya. Means it tells how to divide a stomach and eat it. Now, it believes that a stomach is divided into three. The bottom part, the first part goes for solids, second part goes for liquids, and the third part has to be left empty or given enough room for the food to be digested, because it has to move and it has to undergo digestion. Now, the moment you eat tummy full, there is no room for the food to move and to get digested. So that's when you have gastritis. I will give you a very beautiful example. Now imagine this bottle is your tummy or the stomach. Like I said, first part has to go for solids, second for liquids, and there should be some room. Now imagine I went to a marriage, I ate dal makhani, paneer fried rice, pani puri, whatever, and I'm full till here. Can you see a bubble running in this? There is a bubble running.
Yeah.
So this is gas. Ultimately,
Okay.
Then we do all. Then we struggle to burp out and to be free, and because you have something caught up in your chest. So it tells you how to eat and what to eat and what time to eat. So the last meal, according to Ayurveda, should be before 6:30, strictly. So why I am trying to tell all this is it tells you how to live. So at the end of the day, your whole cycle is perfect. So there's no chance of falling in. That is what Ayurveda always trying to tell. So like I said, it is always a wellness industry, never a sickness industry. Sickness comes after for Ayurveda. It always aims at how to, provide a good health in any general terms. So yes. So according to Ayurveda, in a nutshell, it would be this.
That's really nice, actually. Nagashri, the way you mentioned wellness industry, right? That is really
Yes.
good, because beautifully mentioned. It's a real word, actually. because wellness industry, though we talk about detoxifying and all those things, but people are not really understanding what exactly is that. People are looking at toned face, toned skin, everything, but
Yes, yes,
that should come inside. See,
yes,
they
correct.
should always compare with a plant, plant and a
Yes,
leaf. How you make it to the look beautiful with, it's not the outer appearance, right? So really, the good explanation. I would like to know, especially you come from such a young age, and so that will be your words will be more triggering of your age, because those are the people, like students or the teenagers or the age group, they are misguided actually. They are thinking like Ayurveda is something we cannot adopt. They're not thinking it as a lifestyle. To be frank, they are thinking something which is a big, oh my God, Ayurveda we cannot. But it's not the case. So I really want to put forward, your beautiful words where student, all the young, youth and the young girls will start
yes,
adopting it.
yes.
Yeah.
So, like you said, ma'am, the word you used is uh, it is very true, because people have these assumptions that Ayurveda is just to do about leaves and roots. So it is more actually, because like I said, it tells you how to live, and later comes on management of diseases. So if we just, these are just smaller aspects which after a while or in a long standing run, they become something which is way too out of control, and then the disease becomes very harder to control, and the whole immune system or the body is at hindrance. So what you've said is actually very true.
Yeah. So the PCOS, you mentioned that is majority of the girls, women of
Yes,
course, but
yes.
girls, and they're not even realizing that, and what is happening with them, and so probably you can throw a light on that, and how do they get out of it, and your words would be more helpful to them.
Yes. So if we talk about PCOS, the name suggests that it's polycystic ovarian syndrome. So there is this organ of the reproductive system of female, which includes a small bulb kind of structure, which is called an ovary. So there are these little bubbles, or in medical terms, they're called a cyst, which form inside the ovary. And what they do is they eventually stop ovulation, and one fine day the girl is not menstruating. Now, if you ask me why this happens, like I said, all the factors which are mentioned before, it is either overeating or junk eating or poor quality of food or under eating, and some sort of substance abuse, alcoholism, smoking, and it lack of sleep or poor quality of sleep. And if you go against the biological clock, the body stresses you to sleep, but then even after that, if you don't sleep, it has its own way to handle. It gives you PCOD in free. So, so that is what happens. Now, if you ask me the symptoms of it, many of them, you nowadays there is a big line in parlors for extra facial hair. So it is high time for girls to know that the moment you have, see, facial hair is normal for everyone, but once it looks excess, or if you have a male pattern kind of facial hair, that's when you'll have to run to a doctor, because the biggest symptom, which is called in medical terms, it's called as hirsutism. There's facial hair, there's central obesity or overall obesity, and too much of hair fall, which is beyond the limit. 100 to 150 strands a day is normal for every human. But when, if you just do this, there's a big bunch of hair. That's what happens now. And there is this one big disadvantage with PCOS, it gives insulin resistance. That's when you start developing diabetes. So yes, once PCOS in a female goes out of control, she's very much prone for diabetes, because she has something called insulin resistance in her body. Eventually the body starts giving up, and then she's very much prone for diabetes. So now once you have diabetes, once it goes out of control, there's multi-organ failure, and that takes a toll. So in order to control all this, having a lifestyle, good lifestyle to be more precise, is very much important. And there are ways to find PCOD, which is very easy. You might have patchy, neck, dark patchy neck or underarms. And like I said, male pattern facial hair or hirsutism and too much of hair fall. And if you don't have proper menstrual cycle, or it can be either a scanty form of bleeding or no bleeding at all. This is what happens in PCOS. Yes. So ultimately what happens is whatever has to come out doesn't come out and the uterus becomes way too bulky. So PCOS is a very big topic. Now girls really need to, be careful about it, because see, the lifestyle also demands to be sedentary with all these increased sophistication and night shifts and software jobs where they have to sit for 16 to 17 hours and they don't have a choice. So in order to control all this, yoga, pranayam come into a play, and then there'll be some solution for it, because if it goes beyond the limit, it can lead to infertility and other things. So it would be better if we start listening to our body. The biggest disadvantage what we see now is we just don't listen to our body, which is very sad, because it knows what is happening to it. So if you just listen to it, you'll be fine. So it will be better if we listen to our body and be a little sensible and lead a life. That would be more better.
That's really nice. So you would say, like, doing pranayama regularly, like every day once, or something would do better, you mean?
Yes. Now, yoga and pranayam are in the saddest part comes here. In India, it is not that believed, but once we jump into Western cultures, it is given immense importance, because see, since they are advanced than us, whatever has happened here has already happened there, and once they started getting used to yoga, things have come back and they know the value. We still have to take a toll, get back to the normal, and then understand things. This will all take a time. So I am doing my bit with the sessions. What actually yoga and pranayama do, like I said before, they are all neurohormonal triggers. So they take a control on your body. So like everybody क्या yoga में क्या करते हैं, बस you just have to bend forward and backwards. It doesn't work, it is not effective, it is very slow. It doesn't make sense. And if you think Ayurveda, pranayam is just breathing in and out, how does it help? Like I said, you need not be flexible to do yoga. You need not have some superpower to do yoga. You do yoga, you will be more flexible. You will have all the power to do. So, like I said, yoga prana, like the word yoga means union. What it does is it connects body, mind, and soul. So when everything are in a line, your system starts working properly. If one goes haphazard, then obviously you're welcoming a disease. That is the science behind Ayurveda and yoga. So every asana or every posture in yoga has got a reason for it. It puts pressure in particular parts so that it starts functioning better. Like there are Surya Namaskar. It is an all-rounder. It works for good immunity. It works as a good workout. It's a very good cardio. It's good for digestion. It's good for good skin. And it is an all-rounder. Now, when we talk about pranayam, it actually aims at increasing lung capacity. So now the current trend or the pandemic is a very good example on how pranayam actually works on the lungs. Now since I worked as a COVID warrior, so there were many patients who couldn't recover from that lung damage. But then eventually what has happened is, since while I took sessions, I had suggested few lung exercises and some breathing techniques. Eventually they started feeling better, and whatever they do, this what is it called, spirometer, the results have gradually increased. They could only spirometer is this particular instrument which has 3 balls, and has got a pipe to it. So when you blow it, there are these balls which rise because of the air, and how much ever they raise is so much lung capacity. That's what it indicates in very simple terms. So there were people who were not able to raise one ball even an inch because they had so much of damage. Eventually, what had happened is the whole meter had started to increase, and which indicates that they were back to normal. So what it does is it releases or it kicks out all the toxins from the lungs. It increases the elasticity of the lungs, because the moment you're not able to breathe, there is something wrong with the elasticity. So when you start, putting little gradual pressure by the techniques under supervision, you will create wonders for the patient, and he will be very much fine. There was one cancer patient. He had a supraclavicular. I mean, there's a collarbone. He had cancer over it. Because of the chemo and other medicines, he started developing the shortness of breath, and he couldn't drive car. He couldn't do his morning routine well. So he came to me, and I happened to suggest few breathing exercises. Believe me, after 6 months, after 6 months of his attack and after his chemo, now after doing all these pranayam, yoga, and other diet patterns and correcting his lifestyle, he's going on trips. From what he was and what he's able to do, there's a major difference. So this is what Ayurveda and yoga pranayam do. They bring back the the normal functioning of the body. That's how it works.
Yeah, Nagashri, thank you so much. And so overall, what I could understand is like correcting little conscious, and
Yes,
hearing to
yes.
what our body says, and following our already predefined. I think so. As you mentioned, it's already written. This is how it has to be. This is how you have to work on. This is how you have to do pranayama. So it's already predefined. There's nothing we are going to explore in a different way. Already existing things, how we adopt it. And people like you, and you've been taking many sessions and really educating everyone. Actually, I should really proud of you, because at this age you started, you felt the need, and the need to correct the people, the need for it, because it's such a social service you are doing. It's really commendable, I can say. I think so we should have more sessions
Sure.
going
Yes, yes.
forward. Probably, yeah. So every topic we can take it as a
Yes.
session, and we
Now,
should give it up. And
PCOS itself is actually a bigger topic, and there are asanas, there are pranayams, there are some diet restrictions, and some food which have to be taken in for PCOS. So that itself is actually a session topic. So
yeah, definitely. So probably the information what has been, it's a clear cut idea, like definitely the breathing exercise
yes,
you're
yes, you
talking
are the
about,
best doctor.
then pranayama.
You are the best doctor. You don't need another doctor actually, because every time nowadays, a very small illness, people have this bad habit, I would say worst habit, of popping pills, because every ill has a pill, but there follows an ill for every pill. Now, what this says is, once you take a pill, it might work for the symptom, but then there is something called ADR, adverse drug reaction. You don't need it. You have a problem which is very basic. Every human experiences it. Now, when you take a pill, your body is confused. Now, why did you give this to me? So it starts acting in a haphazard way, and that's how you're welcoming more problems.
Oh my god,
Yes.
beautifully mentioned. We are really confusing. We are putting it in a confused state.
Yes.
And rather, Corona taught us in a very hard way, saying that, after post-Corona, whatever was the symptoms we are talking about.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So that itself is a big example. Taking steroids, the moment, we are kind of people, we want to live the moment, and, to be cleared the moment. We're not bothered about the post and, pre and post. So that's where, we have already, Corona taught us. Still,
Yes.
maybe
Very well.
yeah,
Very well.
very well. And that's how, and I should really congratulate you for doing a lot of works on COVID warrior. And though you have not, you're in a study stage, and stay blessed, and let's have many more sessions. And
Sure,
thank you
sure.
so much. Thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
so
And I
much.
think so there's one session would not be enough. Let's have the glimpses of it. Probably, So to all the audience, I'm Pravina Tota, founder Women in Vision. I felt very proud when Nagashri reached out me saying that, I want to inculcate, I want to make people understand the importance, because I want to give the people to adopt to the healthy lifestyle. I'm so amazed. If we have the generation like this with us, and what else we need? So thank you so much, and I wish many
Thank you
more
so
come
much.
up like Nagashian, and make her as you are the role model for everyone, and I can say brand ambassador for the lifestyle. Okay, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Yeah, I thank you for giving me this wonderful opportunity and letting me convey what I wanted to do for the society since being in a medical fraternity, because at the end of the day, it's my duty to do my handful to the society, because all we need is a happy and a healthy society.
Stay blessed. Thank you.